Kal Halayim La Yahweh Ba Hashem Yahawashi Waha Ruha Kwadash. All praises and glory go to you, Lord. Double honors and respect go to our apostles, bishops, elders, and teachers, the men of great millstone. To you I say shalom. Salutations to the hopefully elect. It's your brother Amraya. And you have an article here from CBS News, which I've already been looking at this article throughout the day. DeSantis signs law HB, let me see, HB 1471, all right? DeSantis signs Florida law allowing designation of domestic terrorist organizations, raising civil rights concerns, all right? Article goes on to say Governor Ron DeSantis on Monday signed a bill allowing Florida to designate certain groups as domestic terrorist organizations, reinforcing an executive order he issued in December of 2025 that applied the label to two Islamic groups. All right. And this is like a double-edged sword. As it states Psalm 94 and 21, he frameth mischief by law. All right. Now, of course, with him siding with the little hats, and Ron DeSantis has sided with the little hats. I wanted to do it from StreamYard, but it's going to take some figuring out how to get a better experience for you guys. But let me see if it'll play.
We're here at Tampa International Airport to really celebrate the return home of many of our fellow Floridians and fellow Americans from a very difficult situation over in Israel. And this is not the first time that the state of Florida has led rescues in situations like this. But I will say, given what's happening over there, given that you have a barrage of missiles being launched by a very hostile regime into Israel, given that the airport's totally shut down, given that the neighboring areas aren't exactly easy to navigate, this was probably the most challenging and logistically difficult mission that the Florida Department of Emergency Management has done, certainly in my time, and I don't think there's been anything like it, but we've already been able to help effectuate over 1,500 people's exit from Israel. We're here.
But he's been over there, stepping fetching for the little hats, and over here campaigning for them as well. Now, it goes on to read, the law which takes effect July 1st bars courts and other adjudicatory bodies from enforcing provisions of foreign or religious law, which particular emphasis on the Islamic code known as Sharia law. All right. And what is Sharia law, you might ask? Sharia. It is a body of religious law that form the Islamic tradition based on scriptures of Islam, particularly the Quran. All right. So they're barring anything dealing with the Quran. All right. Barring these people from their religion. All right. On behalf of the little hats, because they are colonizing and won't stop. And they've started a war over here in Iran that is quickly spiraling out of control. All right. Continue reading. It says, new law expands state authority to designate terrorist groups. Another provision allows the state chief of domestic security, currently Florida Department of Law Enforcement Commissioner Mark Glass, to designate both domestic and foreign terrorist organizations. So be aware, brothers in Florida. All right. All of you out here on the highways, byways, and hedges already know they've been passing those legislations up there in Canada to incarcerate those street preaching. And, Esau Edom is pretty much on the same page about that all around the world. So in Florida, they could use this law to come after you. All right. They could deem you domestic terrorist organizations. All right. And this is what concerns me. All right. This is mischief being framed by law. All right. It says the legislation we'll sign today is the strongest action. Oh, now I'm going to skip down. It says the legislation HB 1471 was filed in support of DeSantis' executive order classifying Council on American Islamic Relations. All right. The legal challenge and civil rights concerns emerge in March. U.S. District Judge Mark Walker issued a preliminary injunction against the order, writing that it violated CAIR's right by targeting and threatening those who provide the organization with material support. Florida Executive Director Heba Rahim criticized the legislation, calling it part of a broader political agenda. She said the law jeopardizes students' speech, religious freedom, and due process. And that's exactly what it does, all right? Which seems to be the agenda of the Republicans at this point right now, and whoever's pulling the strings behind the scene, all right? Ultimately, they want to do away with your constitutional rights, your Bill of Rights. All right. Let's get some scriptures on the matter and call it a day. Since I quoted it earlier, this is Psalms chapter 94 and verse 20. It says, "Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with you, which frameth mischief by a law?" Right. That's what Esau Edom does. They frame mischief by law. All right. They gather themselves together against the soul of the righteous and condemn the innocent blood. But Yahweh is our defense, and our power is the rock of our refuge. And he shall bring upon them their own iniquity, and shall cut them off in their own wickedness. Yea, Yahweh our power shall cut them off. All right. So the traps and snares that they're imagining that they're going to use to take control are going to be the same traps and snares that the Lord uses to bring them down. All right. No better chapter to go to than Job. This is Job chapter 20, and this is where I'll end verse 22. It says, "In the fullness of his sufficiency," and this is talking about Esau Edom, all right, the so-called self-proclaimed white man that rules in the world today, as Job 9 and 24 states, "The earth was given into the hand of the wicked," all right. "He covered the faces of the judges thereof, if not, wherein who is he?" And it is Esau Edom that paints himself up as the children of the book. It is Esau Edom that paints himself up as the children of light and is full of darkness. All right. Verse 22, "In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits, a position of difficulty. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him." When he is about to fill his belly, right, pass all these draconian laws and measures, and that's what they are. They're draconian in nature. Look that up. All right. When he is about to implement his new world order, when he is about to implement the MOT, or when he does implement the MOT to the B and thinks that he has a full free road to access all his slaves, all right, when he is about to fill his belly, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. Right. All right. You're about to be destroyed, Esau Edom. All right. It doesn't matter what laws you pass. You and those JOOs over there in the state of Israel are going to get what's coming to you. All right. And the rest of you Edomites as well. Those that are not destroyed on this side will go into slavery for 1,000 years. All right. And then wiped out. Verse 24, "He shall flee from the iron weapon," which your allies and your enemies are preparing for you right now. Weapons of mass destruction. All right. ICBM missiles, all manner of new technology, drones dropping bombs. All right. And invasion. "He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through." It is drawn and cometh out of the body, yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gall. Terrors are upon him. That's why you see, I don't know if you've been keeping up with Donald Trump's rhetoric on Iran, but he's losing his marbles. All right, he sounds like a desperate man. All right, because terrors are upon him. They need those straits open. It's a rippling effect that he didn't consider, because is wisdom no more in Tema? Either way, enough. You see what's going on. They're setting this up, and I live in a red state. Others brothers as well. So you got to keep your eye on these type of things, because they could very easily use these draconian laws and unrighteous decrees to frame mischief on us. And all we're doing is preaching the word. So keep your eyes peeled. Hopefully this has been edifying. Until the next time, shalom.